How we doing, everybody? It's your guy Wardy here, and we're back at it breaking down the latest in Mets land, this time a July 27th, 2025 edition. I'm currently recording this right around 2 a.m. Eastern after the Mets took down the San Francisco Giants to secure that series victory by a final score of 2-1. So if you guys could hit that like and subscribe button for your guy Wardy, as the grind never stops here on the platform to pump out content for each and every one of you. And if you guys did not see my initial breakdown and reaction from the Mets' latest series victory and now winning 6 consecutive ball games, make sure to check out our post-game live show after you guys found yourself watching this video, because today we have multiple Mets reports that we have to get into. Not only is David Stearns far from being done adding to this Mets bullpen, but what if I told you that they're actively in the market right now for arguably the best reliever currently out there, if not certainly one of them from the National League? And yes, closer from the St. Louis Cardinals and Ryan Helsley, the flamethrower. We're going to break down Helsley, his game, the current connection from the Mets, where that reporting stems from, everything in between, the likelihood, unlikelihood of a potential trade happening there, how much he would add immediately into this Mets bullpen to help pair with Edwin Diaz, and so much more. Because from there, we're going to talk not only on the Mets bullpen, but also on their outfield configuration and how much Drew Gilbert, Mets top outfield prospect, is continuing to turn heads. So much so that David Stearns spoke to the media over the past day or so and said how he's now garnering attention by the club, especially. We'll expand on Gilbert, what's worked so right for him in AAA Syracuse over this past month, especially. Could we see him as a potential call-up at the major league level in hand with what the Mets may or may not do to add a center field leading up to the deadline? That, along with the latest there that we're seeing in Mets land, what are their next moves expected to be there leading up to the deadline? And wrap up the show, we're going to give you a complete prospect report getting into everything that happened over the past 24 hours from Port St. Lucie all the way up there to AAA Syracuse. So guys, sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride for our latest Mets breakdown. But in the meantime, again, hit that button as you guys first chime in, as roughly 40% of you guys are not subscribed to the platform that are active watchers. So if you guys haven't hit that button already, please make sure to do so, as well as hearing from our amazing sponsors at SeatGeek that have you covered for all of your ticketing needs, everybody. Simply head over there and utilize our promo code WARDY10. That way you too get 10% off your next ticket purchase. And thank you guys so much for doing exactly that, as well as hearing from what we have upcoming in just a couple days, everybody. If you don't know, now you know, our big official Wardy Day there at Citi Field, August 1st. It's Wardy here, and as you can see, we are at gorgeous Citi Field, and folks, you can get the ultimate, the prime experience with your guy Wardy at our first ever official Wardy Day. August 1st, Mets San Francisco Giants there for the evening game. The day after the MLB trade deadline, you, your friends, your loved ones, select Mets fans will get the ultimate experience with your guy Wardy. Not only are we going to hang out at the ball game together, but folks, look at the seating. We're going to be live here in the left field lounge. You guys will be able to chop it up with your guy Wardy. We're going to be debating as to who's the best pitcher of the rotation outside of Kodai Senga. We're going to be talking about who's the next best prospect to get called up. How do we feel about the trade deadline acquisitions? And guys, as you get back up here then, we are going to be giving you a $18 drink voucher, and with that drink voucher, you guys are going to be able to hit up the bars that we have right outside of here. So easy, so accessible. Again, prime seating, a truly fantastic experience. Our first ever Wardy Day here at Citi Field, guys, where you will get a chance to hang out with your guy Wardy. And the best part too, not only is it this amazing lounge in left field that you guys will hang out with me, but we're going to be on the field, pre-game access there for a group photo op. So I hope to see you, all you amazing Mets fans there. Click the link if you guys haven't already there to check out our available tickets, and let's go Mets. And not only are we going to be sitting here throughout the course of the ball game, you guys can also check out the seats that we have access to all here in the bar area here, right at the Milagro, where you guys can utilize your $18 drink voucher. Again, this is going to be at Wardy Day, August 1st, 2025. Oh wait, yeah, almost forgot. It's also fireworks night. Bang! Hope to see you guys there. Again, folks, tickets down below in the pinned comment. We have less than 10 still available, just a couple days away. Cannot wait to see you guys there at Citi Field. But all right, guys, let's get into this conversation. Let's actually begin today's convo by getting into the continued brilliance that we saw yet again there from this past night from Mr. David Pearson on the mound for this Mets team. The one thing that I really want to highlight here, furthermore, from last night's post-game show to expand on here this morning, or whenever you guys are watching this video as it first drops here, and then day after, after that latest victory for the Mets there in San Fran. That's David Pearson giving us yet another fantastic outing, going 6 innings of 8 hit, 1 earned run, 3 walk, 4 strikeout ball. If you want to know how I graded Pearson's final line on a scale 1 to 10 and more on his breakdown, again, check out that post-game coverage, but expand more on David Pearson, everybody. What I want to relay is as follows, because I was tagged from a follower of mine. Shout out Highlands Greens on X for this, because I saw this right before I got the recording started. I'm like, oh, I need to talk about this. This is insane. These are David Pearson's stats I'm about to relay side by side from his 2024 and 2025 season. And listen to this, everybody. And you get, it's too zoomed in for you, and that's okay. But let me just make something clear. In 2024, David Pearson had 21 games at 2.9 ERA. At 121 innings, he allowed 110 hits, 44 runs, 39 earned runs, and 8 home runs. In 2025, David Pearson, in 20 games, has a 2.83 ERA and exactly 121 innings as well. Exactly 110 hits allowed, 43 runs, 38 earned runs, and 7 home runs allowed. Near perfectly identical numbers for his 2024 campaign is what he's done so far in 2025. When I tell you that David Pearson has been the most reliable option in this Mets rotation going back to June of last season, it's not an exaggeration. It's a fact. And you thought, oh, that's trippy enough. No, listen to this, everybody. Let's get into more numbers here. Then we get into, it's actually insane. You know, we look at the hit batsman. Last year was 7. This year it's 6. We look at walks. 46 we saw last year, 41 this year. We look at strikeouts. Last year, 101. This year, 101. Opponent batting average 243 last season. This season, 243 as well. The whip is only off by 0.04%. I mean, this is ridiculous. Absolutely insane numbers, everybody. You can go check it out on MLB's site when looking at David Pearson for yourself in case you don't believe me. But yeah, guys, can we please get some hype and love in the chat in the comments down below for David Pearson? Just how absolutely nails he has been for the Mets, continued for over a calendar year now. What do you think of reliable southpaws? Look no further than not only the Simone southpaw and Sean Manaea, but the fantastic younger right-hander there and Mr. David Pearson. But all right, guys, enough of me talking about David Pearson. Let's talk about why you likely clicked on this video. And that has everything to do with the reporting that dropped from Will Salmon of The Athletic, who we actually interviewed on the platform just a couple days ago. In case you guys didn't check it out, go to our pre-recorded videos on the platform. It is just before my Bob Nightingale interview that we did for the Mets traded line preview that you could check out separately. I did a breakdown with Will Salmon as he got into a lot of the things that he's reiterating here, how the Mets are obviously adamant to still add to this bullpen even after bringing in Gregory Soto, who may make his Mets debut this Sunday in the series finale there because he was not able to make the game in time there for Saturday's game there in San Fran between themselves and the Mets. But as we see here, adding Gregory Soto was a good start, but more work for the Mets bullpen should remain. On why a top setup reliever remains something the Mets should pursue. And not only is this something that the Mets should pursue, they are pursuing. And there was a nice little wrinkle of a bomb dropped in this article by our good friend Will Salmon. So if you guys want to check out Will's piece in its entirety, I implore you guys to do exactly that by checking it out after watching this video, as I have it linked down below in the description for each and every one of you to go ahead and check out. But as we get into this article, everybody, I'm going to read the most important quote that you guys are going to want to hear from this, at least in my opinion, when we're talking about the trade rumors and what's happening here at Metsland. Let's get into this. For instance, Ryan Helsley is a reliever the Mets have expressed interest in, but they've yet to have, complete discussions with the Cardinals as to exactly how deep those talks are going to go. But yes, the Mets are officially in the market, everybody, for Ryan Helsley. And why is this a big deal? It's a big deal because if the Mets do, in fact, somehow, some way, reel in Ryan Helsley from the St. Louis Cardinals, they have made as good of an acquisition to this bullpen as you could possibly imagine when to pair with Edwin Diaz. In case you guys have been living under a rock, let me enlighten you on the brilliance that has been the flamethrowing Ryan Helsley this year for the St. Louis Cardinals, everybody. Just take a look at the highlights as well as the stats down below, and this man is an absolute machine. 30 years of age for the veteran right-hander. He's on the final year of his contract, so he would be a rental acquisition for the Mets, just was the case in Gregory Soto from the Baltimore Orioles. Helsley making $8.2 million in the final year of his deal. 36 games, 36 innings, has been deemed as almost a guarantee to be traded by the Cardinals based on recent reporting through The Athletic. And now we see as a flat 3-year ERA, a 3.5 expected ERA, a 3.5 FIP, a 3.3 SI ERA, a 1.39 WHIP, 41 strikeouts, a 10.25 K per nine, to 3.5 walks per nine. We are taking that to the bank every single day of the week. If you look at Helsley's career numbers, yeah, buddy has been absolutely nails. 275 games, just under 300 total innings, a 2.67 ERA, a just over 1 WHIP, a 3.39 SI ERA, a 10.6 K per nine, to 3.6 walks per nine. Yeah, Ryan Helsley has been nails, everybody, and he's been consistent for a number of years, not just this season. As we expand more on him, as you guys can actually see right here, right now, courtesy of Fangraphs, just take a look at the numbers with me, everybody. Helsley has been Mr. Consistent. He had a 2.04 ERA last season and a 2.7 expected ERA in 66 innings. The year before that, in 36 innings, he had a 2.5 ERA to 2.25 expected ERA. The year before that, in 2022, a 1.25 ERA and a 2 expected ERA there in 64 innings. Helsley, each of the past 4 or 5 seasons, has been one of the best relievers in all of the National League. And now you mean to tell me that the Mets are chomping at the bit to bring in Helsley? Oh yeah, sign me up. Let's take a look at these gorgeous baseball savant numbers here from Mr. Helsley and what you're getting in the arsenal. As you guys can see, he's in the 95th percentile currently in breaking run value, 99th in fastball run value. We see 69th in expected ERA, nice. 61st in expected batting average. The fact that he sits 99, 101 plus on the gun is what makes him so brilliant. 94 there on the chase percentage, gives up hard exit velocity that you see in the 5th percentile, because again, when you throw consistently 99 to 101, if you give up any contact, naturally it's going to be hard hit, the way that is for at least 92 miles per hour. Whiff percentage, 85th percentile, 76th percentile in K percentage, just below league average in walk percentage, above league average in barrel percentage at 72nd percentile, well below league average in hard hit percentage. It goes right in here with what I was saying about when he's giving up contact. Of course, it's going to basically always be hard hit, and the 15th percentile, 70th percentile in ground ball percentage, and above league average in extension. He's got the slider that he's throwing more than any other pitch this year at 48%, sitting 89, top it out 91, 92, obviously. The four seam that he's sitting right around 99 to 101, he's thrown 45% of the time. He's got the curveball in the back pocket at 5% of the arsenal, sitting around 80 miles per hour, and the cutter at 2% of the arsenal, around 94. So guys, I think it goes without saying that every Mets fan and their mother is probably in favor of Ryan Helsley being added to this bullpen. The only reservation that most Mets fans have, including myself, is how much do you have to give up to land someone like Helsley? But here's what I'm going to say, Mets fans. Even if it does take a decent prospect haul, because you'd imagine that'll be of a bidding war to land Helsley. Listen, the Mets gave up a number 19 and an out of top 30 prospect for what I think we all agree is a rock-solid reliever in Gregory Soto. But Ryan Helsley is another step above Gregory Soto. Not only is he more a guaranteed thing, but he's a guy that can come in and be as good, if not better, than even Edwin Diaz for the times that Edwin maybe has worked on back-to-back days and you don't want to throw him out for a third consecutive day as a closer. Helsley provides this perfect bridge option where he can either be your setup man every time out there, or Edwin can be the setup man for Helsley based on certain matchups. I mean, this would be as lethal of a 1-2 punch in a bullpen as any Major League Baseball, if not certainly better than most. And then by already having Soto, you would have a fearsome foursome of Diaz and Helsley as your flamethrowing right-handers, then Soto and Raley as your two dominant lefty options in your bullpen. Then you have Ryan Stank, Oscar Brosban, who both throw absolute gas as well, that you can utilize more and lesser high leverage and maybe some lower leverage spots as well. You have Jose Budo in your back pocket as well, and then you go on from there. Let's not forget Reed Garrett, mind you. Just like that, the Mets go from having a bullpen that was a weakness to not only is a strength, but is easily one of the best in all Major League Baseball. That is what happens if you land a man like Helsley here. So if you're the Cardinals, you're asking for a king's ransom, in my opinion, for a rental like this, who's having obviously a very good season again. And I think if you're the Mets here, how far are you willing to go? Obviously depends on what the Cardinals will be asking in this circumstance, but I think this is a player that even as a rental, you absolutely consider giving up a top prospect for. When I say top prospect, I mean more in the top 10 than than the top 5. It'll be hard to stomach if we saw the Mets part ways with a top 5 prospect for a rental Helsley. I think that would make me throw up, right? The only way I would be able to be happy about that is if it was a Gilbert Torres or Aroldis Chapman situation, where even though that you gave up a very good, young, exciting piece there in Torres, who would be impactful for that opposing team for years on, that same player that you acquired was a key factor in you winning the World Series that year, i.e. when Chapman helped the Chicago Cubs there in 2016, and they signed right back with the Yankees there the year after, which was kind of nuts. But point I'm trying to make here, everybody, is that Helsley is certainly a reliever that warrants what you have to give up to get. This is a circumstance that makes sense. Would I personally be more in favor on if you have to give up good, solid assets for a reliever that at least has control, and say a Griffin Jax from the Twins or a Cade Smith from the Guardians? Yes, I like those guys a lot, but Helsley's a surefire guaranteed thing and a walk year, trying to obviously have a big second half, pushing a postseason play, and the amount of flamethrowers the Mets would have in this bullpen is exactly the kind of quality that could really help propel them and take them a step above where they're currently at, even as a team that is currently 3 games shy of 20 games above 500 here now in the second half of the 2025 season, guys. Yes, you're going to have to give to get in a circumstance like Ryan Helsley, but he's most certainly a guy that you go ahead and you make that happen. If you're in a win now stage, the way the Mets certainly are with their core group, with Alonso in a walk year again, with Francisco Lindor not getting any younger, with Juan Soto his first year here, we know how much of a lethal bat he is, with everyone else in company a part of this club. Brandon Nimmo isn't getting any younger, and Marte is not traded, then obviously he's been great in his limited sample sizes. Francisco Alvarez is showing more brilliance and a lot of excitement now coming back there from his latest, not rehab stint, but being in the minor leagues. Mark Vientos is finally starting to find his swing, find his way at the time of us recording this video. There's a lot of positives in Mets land. Ryan Helsley makes this team so much better than what it currently is on the bullpen front. It's arguably, again, one of the best bullpens in all of the National League. So Mets fans, if you guys are for a Ryan Helsley trade, I would love to hear your thoughts about that in the comments down below. If you guys are against a Ryan Helsley trade for whatever reason, please make sure to relay why exactly that is in this one, because for me personally, again, I think Helsley just checks off so many boxes for you. And as we go back to relaying and showing you guys some of these highlights here, I mean, just appreciate them in all its glory. This guy's nasty. I mean, it's not even fair when you have a slider like that just has so much late break on. It's stupid. Just look at these pitches, everybody. I mean, just dotted. 99, see ya. Out of here. Granted, a bit of a meatball that if you weren't taking, if you're the Pirates, you're not going to fare, you may fare well, but not Matty Chapman, more like Matty Olson, former Matt Chapman teammate there. He struck out looking. Here is Mr. Swing and Miss and Luis Torrens striking out against Helsley earlier this season. Then you got Gorski, the schmuck that actually was a pain in the neck for the Mets a little bit this season, if I'm not mistaken. Him and Triolo. Then we see here, oh yeah, against Garcia, not a problem here. Lefty matchup, no worries against the Nationals. We're doing play-by-play talking about Helsley because I haven't watched too much of him this year, so it's a nice treat to just see how nasty he is. When you go from having that gorgeous 100-mile-per-hour fastball to then have the breaking off-speed pitches in your back pocket the way that he does, it just isn't fair. I mean, he's carving up batters, and this is the kind of guy you need to add. You know, we saw David Robertson just sign with the Philadelphia Phillies, and even though you might say, oh, it's D-Rob, he's 40 years of age, he hasn't pitched all this year, I get that. But he still may very well be nails the way that he's been every single year for every team that he's been a part of throughout his career. Ryan Helsley would be the perfect complement for this bullpen as a counter to what a rival club in the NL East that's trying to win the division this year and the Phillies are trying to do. So Ryan Helsley, everybody, final thing I have to say about him, out of all the relievers the Mets have been connected to or could potentially be connected to, he is without question one of my favorites on the board. It all just comes down to price. Like anything else in Major League Baseball, it comes down to that cost. Let's see if the Mets are going to be willing to go as far as what the Cardinals will be looking for to land the coveted flame-throwing right-hander. But now, guys, Ryan Helsley, what a treat he is. But we know that he's not the only topic of conversation that we have in this one. We have plenty more to get into on Drew Gilbert, next moves for this Mets team, and to wrap it up with our prospect report. But before we do, let's hear a quick word from today's video sponsor at Moo. Hey Mets fans, if you love diving deep into the numbers like WAR or ERA, then you absolutely are going to love what today's video sponsor Moo brings to your investing game. Think Moneyball, but this time for your portfolio. I'm beyond excited to share that Moomoo, the proud trading platform of the New York Mets, is here to level up your investing. Moomoo is a global trading platform currently serving over 25 million users in markets like the United States, Canada, Singapore, and Japan. Whether you're just starting out or if you're a more seasoned trader, Moomoo's app and desktop platform offers commission-free trading on stocks, ETFs, and options, no contract fees either. So plus, you get premium tools, guys, whether it's going to be the institutional grade analytics, Morningstar research, and analyst ratings, all free for funded users. And right now, Moomoo is doubling down for Mets fans. Sign up through my exclusive link down below, make a qualifying deposit, and get up to, yes, 60 free stocks, plus not one but two Mets Suite tickets. Not to mention, Moomoo customers can get free tickets to all Monday home games at Citi Field, and who knows, you may even see me at a game. And with zero commissions and zero contract fees on stock and ETF options, you keep more of your wins. Are you guys ready to trade smarter? Download Moomoo now and swing for the financial fences. And shout out once more to Moomoo for being an amazing sponsor here on the platform. Alrighty, folks, it is time that we break down what is happening, what is cooking oh so greatly with Mr. Drew Gilbert. Let's have ourselves the Drew discussion, because guys, Drew Gilbert can't stop tearing the cover off the baseball. Now, Gilbert is not a guy that we have talked about at great length this season on the platform when we've done our prospect reports outside of just the nightly reports, mainly because Drew hasn't done a whole lot. However, over the past month, Drew Gilbert has not only gained the attention of a lot of Mets fans, including myself more, but has certainly garnered the attention of David Stearns and this Mets front office. And we will get to Mr. Stearns' remarks here in a second, but in the meantime, let's just relay some of the latest bombs that Drew Gilbert has hit. I'm going to show you guys a back and forth of the last two he hit there that we saw, two in the same game there, mind you, just a couple of nights ago at the time of this video now dropping, guys. And Drew Gilbert, 84 games so far this season for AAA Syracuse, has 14 home runs, 52 RBIs, a 258 average, an 823 OPS, and is 15% above league average as a batter there for AAA Syracuse and those Metsies. And what we have seen with Drew Gilbert in the month of July has an OPS over 1,000, has 6 home runs, and has 17 RBIs or more. So what does that tell you guys? Drew Gilbert is finding it. He's finally found his swing, and he's now reaching a comfortability that's garnered the attention of not only a lot of fans, including myself, but has now garnered the attention, understandably so, of Mr. David Stearns. Let's see what Mets Pobo had to say about that.
Drew Gilbert's been playing well down in Syracuse lately. How much is he on the radar as somebody who could potentially be that center field piece?
Yeah, Drew's doing a tremendous job, and I think to his credit, he's probably putting himself on the radar a little bit, and he deserves a lot of credit for that. Both offensively and defensively, he's taken a step forward, I'd say, over the last month or two.
So when we expand more on Drew, everybody, let's get into the following, because one thing that I want to make it very clear is that the Mets are not going to be this team that goes out of their way to just rush up a prospect for the sake of doing that. I mean, that goes without saying. That has not been David Stearns' MO whatsoever. They may kind of rush guys in the farm a bit, especially the arms when they're performing well in different leagues. But when it comes to actually getting the major league level, unless you're a reliever, the likelihood of you getting up here fast is slim to none. But with the trade deadline quickly approaching, the Mets properly evaluating what options they have internally for not only their rotation, their bullpen, but also offensively to a degree. I think of the one quote that David Stearns shared with the media this past week. And as a matter of fact, I think Will Salmon of The Athletic, our friend on the platform, asked David this question verbatim, which was as follows. Is the expectation that pretty much any position player in the minor leagues is not one to impact the Mets this year? And Stearns basically alluded yes. Like, he does not expect a kid in the farm that's a batter right now to really be impacting this team because they don't really need anyone in the farm. However, as Tyrone Taylor can't hit a beach ball, as he's like 7 for his past 80 or right around there. He's not been good. He has an OPS closer to 500 than 600 now, or right around there. It really is not ideal, and we need TT to obviously get any production going because the defense and the base running is awesome. But outside of that, there's a lot to be desired. And with the Mets pondering what they want to do trade-wise, center field-wise to add a bat, while it isn't necessarily a priority, I think it's something that's becoming increasingly obvious, just makes sense for this team. And something that I relayed as well in this past night's postgame show and other content with the Sterling Marte trade rumblings that have been going on as teams have been actively seeking Marte for a trade. I don't want Marte to be traded at all. I think he's a great clubhouse character for guys like Soto. They have a great relationship among others, as well as the on-field product, 780 OPS, 780 average in his sleep, like I told you guys he would be doing heading into the season, and north of an 800 OPS. But if you traded Marte because you added, say, the center field, and you wanted Beatty to play mainly at third, and you wanted Vientos mainly at DH, and you wanted McNeil more so at second base than center, then that's a role that makes a lot of sense, in my humble opinion, at the right price, where, say, you traded Marte in a win-win deal for a strength that would be, say, adding a reliever per se, or something along those lines. Now, would it make sense with the Cardinals for a guy like Helsley? They don't need an aging Sterling Marte, as the Cardinals would be selling to sell, not for the sake of trying to have a win-win deal to impact the club here in the big 2025. But point I'm trying to make here is that when you look at the roster configuration, there is a world here where the Mets are going to open up an avenue for someone in center field. And while I think we can mostly agree that, as David Stearns has said to the media this past week, they need to make sure they hit a certain bar before, really going forward to making a deal done. Does Luis Robert hit that bar enough for them? Well, I know that the Mets really like Robert. They have for months. That's as Bob Nightingale has reaffirmed on the platform. It's been reaffirmed by John Heyman. It's been reaffirmed by basically everyone that's been on the beat covering the Mets. We know the Mets have had a level of interest in Cedric Mullins, but I can't imagine it's as pronounced, because while Mullins' floor isn't as bad as Robert's ceiling is far greater than Mullins, is what we're currently looking at, how well a guy like Robert has played so far. Pardon me, everybody. We had to do the live sneeze on the show, but the show continues to roll on. Robert has been having a higher ceiling. He's raked. He's looked fantastic post All-Star break because he wants to get traded and get out of Dodge fast, because no one wants to be in Southside Chicago playing for the White Sox. So a change of scenery candidate is what Robert is. But if there's one other outfield option that I think the Mets should be considering, if they aren't reportedly already, that's Ramon Laureano from the Baltimore Orioles. We talked a bit about Steven Kwan, and that'll be fun, but I don't expect it to happen. Ramon Laureano does make a lot more sense to actually happen. The Mets just made a trade with the Orioles, so they have the familiarity going, so it's not like that they can't make a deal happen for someone else. And Laureano, who has a north of an 850 OPS, a north of a 280 average this year, yeah, he's horrendous defensively, so I think that's the main counter as to why it shouldn't happen. You're adding someone who doesn't really give you much alleviation defensively in the outfield. There's concerns there, but if you're prioritizing more of the bat fit, that would make sense in the role where if the Mets traded Marte separately. But defensively, I see the concerns. Drew Gilbert has held his own defensively that we've seen one playing center field for the Syracuse Mets this year. So it is something to bear in mind that while it's definitely on the outside looking in for, I think, a Drew Gilbert call-up to happen in the near future, should the Mets center field options, whatever they be, not be to David Stearns' liking post-trade deadline in that following week or so, if the Mets either add or don't add, it's really going to be a golden opportunity to see if Gilbert can not only be considered, but then when he does get his MLB debut, if he can try to actually run with it down the stretch for the remainder of the season. Mets fans, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you think that a Drew Gilbert call-up is going to happen in the next couple weeks, or do you think that the Mets are for certain going to be adding a bat to the center field, and that bat will be propelled enough and be consistent enough to not have you thinking that they're going to need to go out of their way to consider Drew Gilbert internally there within the organization? I definitely want to know your thoughts about that, everybody, because to expand on what is next for this Mets team, it goes without saying, unless we find out, bam, Luis Robertson Met, bam, Mets just landed a starter, bam, this happened. The expectation is that the next move the Mets make is another reliever, and that has a lot to do with the reporting that's come out. Both from Will Simi of The Athletic, Andy Martino of SNY, among others, have all reaffirmed that the Mets are still heavily in the market for multiple relievers. So, color me shocked. We find out that they're now connected as they have a level of interest there, and Ryan Helsley, as they should, flame-throwing, fantastic setup/closer option for this Mets team, guys. So we'll soon see what happens, but I would anticipate another move does happen for the Mets before the deadline itself. And I would anticipate that move next to be a reliever, barring changes. But now, guys, before we get out of here, let me leave you with the following, and that is the latest farm report for this Mets team. What is happening there from Port St. Lucie all the way up to AAA Syracuse? Let's get into it. Starting with the Port St. Lucie Mets, we're now 53-40 on the season. Shout out to them. They won their past night's game by a final score of 9-1. And the offensive heroics, including Rafael Ortega, who's on a rehab assignment, he ripped himself a double that we saw. We also saw offensively the key standouts. Willett there, who's been commanding DH, ripped his 13th home run of the year. And that's about it. Not a whole lot else I feel the need to note of. Davison Gutierrez at catcher at an RBI. Pitching-wise, Gomez won 5 shutty, allowing 2 hits, 0 earned run, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Is down to a 1.85 ERA, looking awesome. And the bullpen did its thing for the most part there too. So now as we get to the Brooklyn Cyclones, they've been fantastic, but they just lost another close battle against the best team in all of high A. At least that's what I'm assuming. At an absurd record of 67-27 for the Grasshoppers. They dropped this one by a final score of 6-5. They've been all tight games, though, against the Grasshoppers there in Greensboro. And we saw offensively for the Mets in this matchup, we had Vega rip his 3rd double of the year. Collins rip his 2nd triple this season there that we saw commanding first base. And guys like Jesus Baez had an RBI. Not a whole lot of show, though. AJ Ewing didn't do anything, but he still has a 292 average and 804 OPS. A lot of teams are scouting AJ Ewing. They like him a lot. I like him a lot. I don't want to see AJ Ewing go anywhere. Nor do I want to see Eli Serrano go anywhere either. But AJ Ewing has been that guy this season. He has been a stolen base menace as well. Not a guy I want to see traded, but a lot of teams like AJ Ewing. So we'll have to be on the lookout for that. A lot of teams also like Nate Dome, everybody. Do not be surprised if the Mets traded a prospect like Mr. Dome here. And I say that in confidence in the sense that I know that Dome's name may or may not have been relayed in trade negotiation for certain players. I can't expand beyond that because I don't want to spill the beans too much for the sake of things if they do not happen. However, I can say in confidence that Dome's name has come up in trade conversations, is a player that multiple teams like, and if the trade comes to fruition, which what I think may happen regarding this player, I think fans would be satisfied. I think it would be pretty beneficial on both sides. But again, to be determined. Dome, I do not want to see traded. I'm just saying don't be shocked if you see it happen. Same thing with AJ Ewing. I don't want to see AJ go, but I know that a lot of teams have interest in him as well. But Dome won 3 shutty, down to a 2.62 ERA in the season. Ramon Gomez, who's flamethrown, touching 103, 104, did allow a earned run there. He still has more work to do with a 5.48 ERA. And that's pretty much all she wrote. So now let's get on to the Rumma Ponies as they absolutely pummeled the Fightin' Phils. The Phils did not have a lot of fight in this one, as the Rumma Ponies are a whopping 63-30 this season. The entire Mets minor leagues are just stupid good this year. It's insane. I mean, from the Cyclones at 58-37, now 63-30, and that had a lot to do with guys like Carson Benj and Jacob Reimer, who are still raking now, going from there in high A to now double A. Because we look at the stats in this one, Ryan Clifford smacked his 20th home run of the season. Love me some Ryan Clifford, baby. This time he was playing right field. That's encouraging to see. I want to see Clifford more in the corner outfield. Let's see what can happen there. Big 4 RBI game, 839 OPS, 239 average. That's Ryan Clifford's MO, but he's a dog and one of the hardest hitters in the Mets minor leagues. Love Ryan Clifford. Carson Benj, another big game for Benj, 1 for 5 with a run scored, 324 average, 938 OPS. To say Carson Benj is Major League Baseball ready, guys, Benj is a guy who's getting center field reps fairly consistently now, and is a guy that I think we could see at the Major League level at some point next season. He's looking fantastic. Jet the Matt Williams looking good, 286 average, 886 OPS, commanding second base this time. Jacob Reimer, 2 for 4 with 2 runs scored, 241 average, 764 OPS. Reimer made tremendous hitting adjustments this year, and he's quickly skyrocketed to one of the Mets' top prospects already per MLB Pipeline in their latest rankings. Kevin Parada continues to hit really well the past couple months throughout the majority of spring at catcher with 3 RBIs in this matchup that we see, including a 252 average and a 758 OPS. Pitching-wise, Jonathan Santucci won 5.2 innings of 0 earned run baseball, 2 unearned runs allowed, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts, down to a 2.03 ERA. Oh, baby, is he looking good. Cornelia looked good, 2 innings of relief. Metoyer looked good, and 1.1 shutty as well. And last but not least, everybody, the Syracuse Mets at 51-50, so they're above 500 as well. They won 6-3 in their matchup. Drew Gilbert won 1 for 4, and like I said, guys, he's right around there now. That 284 average, 258 average, I should say, actually. Let me actually double check to make sure that I have this accurate. Yeah, I do apologize, everybody, for the Drew Gilbert numbers that I was relaying earlier. They were off slightly. Drew Gilbert has right around 800 OPS, and his average is around 248, 250. It's dropped from the couple of games ago that I relayed there. Fangraphs had it off by a couple of games. Not shocked to see that. But regardless, Gilbert's been fantastic still. And as I mentioned, has right around 1,000 OPS in the past month of July. Let's see if he continues to rake to the point that the Mets actually consider this man there that we see at the major league level. That'd be really, really cool. Pablo Reyes ripped himself a double in this one. Hernandez ripped a double. Joey Meneses ripped his 31st double of the year and his 7th home run of the year. De Los Santos ripped his 2nd home run of the year there. And that about did it. Pitching-wise, Dominic Hamill went 2 shutty. That's important because the Mets may consider Dominic Hamill a reliever role before the season ends. Orlana gave up 2 earned runs. He has not adjusted to AAA well since being moved up there, but there's a lot to love about Orlana's arm. He'll figure it out soon enough. Justin Garza went 2 shutty. Ty Adcock allowed 1 earned run in 2 innings. Kevin Herget, we love Kevin Herget, went 1 shutty, and Merriweather won 1 shutty as well. So folks, that does it for the Mets minor leagues and what we had to say about that. But if you guys, again, found yourself enjoying this Metropolitan content, make sure to hit that like and subscribe on your way out. Let me know all your thoughts about Ryan Helsley, Drew Gilbert, the next expected moves for the Mets, what you hope to see the Mets do from now up until the deadline itself, and everything in between. Make sure to check out our Wardy Day tickets should you guys still have interest. I'll see you all there at Citi Field, and I'll see you all later on tonight for more Metropolitan coverage. Let's go Mets, baby. Peace out, everybody.